I run a used appliance store, and we just got this Samsung refrigerator in our shop, and the problem with it, as per the customer, was that the fan was making a noise and there were some other problems with it not cooling. So I want to tear into this refrigerator today and show you how you could diagnose and fix a few different things, but this video is primarily going to focus on it making noise and what's associated with it, because this could lead to some major problems that will eventually stop the refrigerator from cooling. So let's look inside and take it apart. To start, I want to remove all the shelves to get to this rear panel. All of these shelves simply pull up and then out. The crisper drawer plate also simply pulls out on this type of model. The refrigerator I'm using here doesn't have a filter, but if it did, you would need to press in on the tabs on each side of the front of the filter, then pull the crisper plate up and then out. The next thing is removing the screws from the evaporator panel. This one has an additional plate with screws that need removed with a Phillips head screwdriver. Once this initial plate is removed, there are 3 additional screws on the main evaporator plate. 2 on the lower sides in the left and right corners, then there are 2 that are hidden in the center bracket. One of these screws is hiding behind a plastic tab that will need removed before the screw is taken out. Now we want to tug gently on the evaporator panel to pull it out. It should pop out rather easy, and I typically work around this panel to pull it out, and you can use your fingers or possibly a screwdriver for this part, but make sure to be extremely careful around the panel. So guess what? The panel will not come off. I actually expected this when we were doing this video, because if the panel is noisy, there's probably ice behind it. And if there's ice behind it, it's probably stuck around the sides of this, making it impossible or very difficult to pull off without damaging anything. So if you see some resistance when you try to pull on it, maybe the plastic pulls off but not the styrofoam, you want to make sure to defrost it. So I'm going to show you how to defrost it forcefully before we do a manual defrost, which is to unplug it. To put this style refrigerator into defrost, we want to press and hold the power freeze and fridge buttons simultaneously and hold them for 8 seconds. Once you've done this properly, the screen will turn blank and beep. You will then press the fridge button to cycle through the various offered modes. Some models will have different options for forced defrost, but the letters RD stand for refrigerator defrost, and the letters FD stand for freezer or forced defrosting of the whole unit. Once the mode is selected, the compressor and all the fans will shut off and begin the defrost cycle. The refrigerator will continue to beep as it runs, or at least tries to run the cycle. Eventually you should hear hissing or slight popping sounds as the ice is removed from behind the panel. Now this entire defrost cycle could take up to 20 minutes, and once the system has been run for about 20 minutes, you can either unplug the refrigerator or reactivate the forced display mode and then cycle through the blank screen to disable the forced defrost mode. Now, if your refrigerator doesn't have a display like this one, I do have links to other videos where I've done the forced defrost mode on a lot of different types of Samsung refrigerators. The panel now should be totally defrosted and ice-free, or nearly ice-free and easy to remove. Now, if you still have a large amount of ice that is binding your panel, preventing it from being removed, you could have a bad defroster component that is the source of the problem with your fan. You're going to need to manually defrost the unit by taking everything out, unplug the refrigerator, and leave its doors open overnight, or you could use a fan at very low or no heat to speed this up. A typical Samsung refrigerator has a cluster of wire connectors on the upper left side of the refrigerator cabinet. You can simply press the tabs on each connector and pull the panel off, which will cause a few errors on the refrigerator if it's still plugged in. Or if you can manage it, you can loosen the wires on the evaporator panel, which will give you additional room to move the panel away with the refrigerator still on. This will allow you to view the operation of the fan, the evaporator system, and the forced defrost to help troubleshoot some issues. If you keep the panel off or fail to reinstall the wires properly when the refrigerator's on, you're likely to see error codes such as 2E, which means the panel's refrigerator sensor is inoperable or unavailable, but other codes could exist as well, and it can vary by model depending on what all wires have been unplugged. What are the major things that can make the fan have a lot of excessive noise? Really, there are only 2 things. Either the fan motor itself is going bad and is generating the cause of the noise, or there's ice in the cabinet, which we did have trouble with already, and that is forming and not being removed properly by the defrost system, causing the ice to rub on the fan. So let's troubleshoot these 2 things individually. Now, if you'd like to test the fan running on the evaporator panel, you can do this by tricking the door sensors to think the doors are closed when they are not. You can do this by putting magnets on the top of the doors where the reed switches are. Here's an extra video I made on dealing with this to trick the doors. It will force the fan to run, and you can inspect it to determine if the ice is causing the noise or how the fan is working under normal operation. Typically, if you want to try voltage on this, you can use a multimeter set to volts, and it should be running normally between 8 and 12 volts DC. If it is not operating in that voltage range, then you may want to consider a new fan. To remove the fan, typically you're going to need to set the evaporator panel down face forward and then unscrew 4 screws around the corner of the plastic retention plate that the fan is on. On this model, I'm just needing a Phillips head screwdriver to do this. Once you have the evaporator housing removed, you can press down on the plastic retainers holding the fan in place and then slide the fan out. Just remember though that you're going to need to remove the wires from the hooks that hold it in place and keep the wires bundled closely to the panel, both after you pull it out and put it back in. Typically though, the most likely culprit is the system having an ice and moisture buildup that's too close to the fan, which means either the defrost system has failed or it's inefficient. Samsung systems can look different from model to model, but the main things to look for here are the defrost heater, the defrost sensor, and the bimetal defrost thermostat. To test the heater itself, you'll need to use a multimeter set to ohms resistance and use the 2-meter leads to put them onto each of the brown defrost wires at the wire harness connector. In this system, one is on each side of the evaporator, but on some systems there could be a metal box on the left side that has both wires in the same area. A typical good ohm value is around 120 ohms on this type of system. Now, you're seeing on the multimeter it's a little bit high compared to what it should be, and this could be a minor contributing factor to why this Samsung refrigerator is not defrosting correctly, because it should be plus or minus 5% in the ohms either direction. Next, you'll want to test the defrost sensor. This is a typical and likely culprit of what can go bad, and I'm taking off this defrost sensor just to test them side by side against a new one. You can test it on the refrigerator just like the defrost heater, but I wanted to test these side by side. A typical defrost sensor should be around 5,000 ohms at 77 degrees Fahrenheit, and these are about 5580 ohms, and it is also a little colder in my shop than 77 degrees, which means both these sensors are perfectly good. They are not very far off the required value, but if yours is very far off the normal value, and here's a picture and a chart of what you're supposed to look at, absolutely replace this part because it's very affordable to replace, and if the sensor goes bad, it typically will tell the defrost system that the ice has properly been cleared when it has not, leaving extra residual frost that will impact your fan. If you do replace this sensor, the black sludge on the white harness can be removed. It's generally now suggested by Samsung to remove it as it could mess with thermal values during the defrost. Now, when you reinstall a new sensor, I suggest moving it from the evaporator where the refrigerant comes in to the open area on the top of the evaporator coils, as it's going to take longer for this spot to be defrosted, so the system runs longer and heats longer, which is exactly what you want. You can also do this if you keep the original sensor and just move it rather than replace it if it tests out good. Another common problem can be ice and water buildup in the metal catch pan in the refrigerator. I use an ice maker water line in a small bottle to pump and force the water through the drain line to clear out any ice and ensure that you get a large volume of water through this drain hole. If the water stays in the pan or has a problem going down quickly, it could leak into the refrigerator cabinet itself and end up back as ice on the fan, causing the noise or water issues in your crisper pans. Now, if your Samsung refrigerator has a small metal clip that goes from the heater into the catch pan, you want to upgrade this to a larger metal drain probe that goes further into the drain hole, keeping it warmer for longer. This is a very cheap upgrade to prevent moisture from getting in your refrigerator. Now, to remove it, I typically use a pair of side snips to cut the old one off and then use needle nose pliers to put the new one on and secure it to the heater. Now, speaking of the drain that we ran water through earlier, one culprit of a clogged drain line could be a bad drain tube, and Samsung tubes are pretty notorious for getting junk and gunk in them, like this one clearly is starting to have. You can either do a deep clean on the tubes or simply buy a pair or 3 of the new ones and just replace them entirely. Once done with cleaning, I'm installing new drain tubes where the old ones were damaged. With that complete, the condenser looks a bit better and cleaner too with the tubes. I'll make sure to include a link for the drain tubes if you need them. Once all these steps have been completed, ice and moisture buildup should now be addressed. With all of these steps completed, the ice and moisture buildup should now be fully addressed. I'm showing you different things that it could be because in this type of situation, if it's not the fan that's bad, the moisture situation is where only one thing isn't going to solve it, but it's usually multiple issues that are small that can pile on top of each other, causing the whole problem of the fan icing up and the refrigerator not cooling properly. Now, if all these steps don't solve your problem and the ice eventually comes back, the ultimate suggestion is to add an additional heater where the fan is, or at least near it on the copper lines. I have a link for that kit in the process too, because in my experience, adding the heater is the ultimate last-ditch solution for this problem, but it works really well. I hope all these steps help you to figure out what your fan noise problem is, and I hope to see you soon on another video, so make sure you subscribe, but hopefully the next issue you have isn't a broken fridge.